Thank you for joining us for Public Safety Echo. The Public Safety Echo project is the world's first of its kind effort to use the Echo model to address safety issues by bringing residents, workers, and businesses together in an online social and professional space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. In weekly sessions, Public Safety Echo teaches skills, educates partners in different aspects of a healthy community, and empowers community members.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Downtown Public Safety Echo. I am your coordinator, Daryl DeLoach, and I forgot one of my PowerPoint slides set up, so I don't have the cards to introduce anybody, but it's because I'm the only one here in the studio today, so I don't have any guest for you. It's me that's going to be sharing my information and knowledge about de-escalation in a while. But let's all please turn on your cameras. Echo is all about all teach, all learn, and we hope you plan on participating fully. I was sort of in the heat of the moment was what I was thinking about in relation to de-escalation. And I went down that proverbial rabbit hole. So in thinking about de-escalation, I was thinking just about how the heat actually affects us. It's been a very hot summer. We have our river that has run dry, and I'm sure we're all sort of feeling it. Luckily today we have some monsoon weather coming in, so hopefully we'll get some rain. But I actually wanted to ask people to get a little participation today. Heat and it's a reflection on our emotional, where we are emotionally is something that's part of our culture. In the heat of the moment, being steaming, fuming, these terms express anger. So I actually wanted to just open it up to people to give me their own version of a expression that uses heat to express emotion. I know since I have people on, I'm just going to start calling people out, like Jeffrey Bustamante. I'm sure you have a term that you use that relates to heat and emotion.
Hey everybody, all fired up.
All fired up. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. And actually that's sort of like excitement too. That's how about Rodney Bowe? Do you have an expression that you use for that expresses heat?
I would say just out of control,
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you're a musician too, so I think when a band is hot, that's sort of an expression that uses heat to sort of describe, the emotional content of your playing.
Or on fire.
On fire, yeah. I'm gonna call. How about Brittany? Do you have a term or something that you use that you express emotion through a metaphor of heat?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you said of heat. Sorry, I logged on late, so I didn't get the whole first part of everything.
Well, yeah, I'm sort of. I mentioned I went down the rabbit hole of preparing for this de-escalation training, and went down the rabbit hole of heat and how we have all these expressions for our emotional being in relation to heat. So I was just sort of asking people, what's one that you use or where, like I'm saying, in the heat of the moment?
Oh my gosh.
I put you on the spot, huh?
I can't think of this now.
Because you got on late and I called out. I bet Mike Krachowski has one. Are you there, Mike? How about you?
I told you I would turn on my camera after I finished
Oh, I didn't see
lunch. but I guess the only term I would use is hothead.
A hothead, okay. Well, and similarly, we also use cold as sort of the lack of emotion or the lack of response. And I was even able to find some research and other things that we can get into a little later, but just about even in other cultures, they use similar expressions, but really it was just sort of, since I was preparing for this de-escalation and the idea of the heat and how it's affecting us and the fact that things are going to get hotter. So we're going to need to find other ways of coping with the heat. And in fact, as we prepare for the de-escalation training, I do have a short video that sort of even talks about some of these techniques for cooling down your emotions, cooling down a hot head, cooling down, when you're in the throes of things. I don't know if, are you guys ready in the control room to show the YouTube video?
Is that the engagement one or the DBT one?
The DBT. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I didn't preface this before, but I got a short video to show you that has some techniques for just dealing with a hot head.
Tip the temperature. In DBT, there are 3 tip skills. These are skills that can be used to reduce extreme emotion mind fast. They change the chemistry of your body by activating your parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your nervous system that calms you down. Very high emotional arousal can make it difficult to use these skills. That's why tip skills are great in these situations. Tip skills are rapid ways to reduce emotional arousal. The DBT tip skills are tip the temperature, intense exercise, and paced breathing, along with paired muscle relaxation. In this video, we're going to talk about tip the temperature. The dive reflex is a tendency in humans and other mammals for the heart to slow down to below resting heart rate when a person is immersed in very cold water without oxygen. The effect is due to increased activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's physiological system for decreasing arousal. States of emotional overarousal occur when the sympathetic nervous system becomes overactive and the parasympathetic nervous system is underactive. To use the tip the temperature skill, place paper towels around an ice pack and place on your eyes and under eye area while putting your head down. Hold your breath and stay in this position for 30 seconds. Be sure to have paper towels to protect your skin from direct contact with the ice. When you put your full face in cold water or put ice packs on your eyes and upper cheeks and hold your breath, it tells your brain you're diving underwater. This is called the dive response. Your heart rate slows down, blood flow to non-essential organs is reduced, and blood flow is redirected to the brain and the heart. This response can actually help you regulate your emotions. This will be useful as a distress tolerance strategy when you're having very strong, distressing emotions, or when you're having very strong urges to engage in dangerous behaviors. Just one note. Ice or very cold water decreases your heart rate rapidly, so please consult with your healthcare provider before using this skill if you have a heart or medical condition, a lowered base heart rate due to medications, take a beta blocker, are allergic to cold, or have an eating disorder.
All right, so I was sort of showing that video in relation to the idea that these things are connected to our nervous system, and yeah, cold water is one that I really enjoy during the summer to try to just regulate how I feel. I often carry around Nalgene bottles with frozen water in them to hold against my neck and stuff to help me cool down and relax because the idea is the summer just gets oppressive after a while, and we need those ways. Additionally, are there techniques anyone else has out there for cooling off? I was sort of mentioning in New Mexico the idea of a cold, wet bandana wrapped around your neck when you're outside working in the yard, that kind of stuff. Any way that you can. I have to admit, I've been focused on getting away to a beach for some time, and that's not. I always say we have more beach, the sand, but we don't have the water. Anyone have a technique for cooling off they want to share? No? All right. Well, I wanted to say I've been doing some engagement in preparation too with de-escalation, and that engagement has been with the CIT unit as well as some community organizations. So I have another short video if the guys in the room are ready, and then after that video we'll get into the de-escalation after some announcements. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Language we're reading, it's your facial expressions, it's the way that you're acting towards others. Like, we notice that stuff. So when we ask you guys, it's not because we're just trying to be mean, it's because we do care. We want to see what we can do to try to help, or how we can fix this problem so we can all go on with a better day.
So that's why it's very important for us to understand those, or to at least anticipate those stages of escalation, and see that their stress responses could be somebody might want to fight us, right? And the reason, and we'll be going over some effective ways to put ourselves in a safe position.
Is this the first time that you've stolen your parents' car? Yeah. Where's your parents at right now?
They're at a party.
They're at a party. What were you doing planning on taking the car? Where were you going?
I was going to my friend's house.
Why?
I was gonna go in there and have sleepover.
At the grocery store?
No.
How old are you supposed to be to drive?
18.
18. How old are you now?
17.
Why do you keep fidgeting around like this?
Because he's lying. You're not 17. How old are you?
I'm 16.
Now you're 16. So you're going lower and lower. What is your real age?
16.
What year were you born?
2000.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Let me get a picture of you guys at the car. All right, so I guess I should explain what those videos were. The first one was, of course, our block-by-block ambassadors receiving some de-escalation training from our CIT unit. The block-by-block ambassadors are the folks in the yellow who you see out there taking care of our streets quite often. Deandra Cole does a very amazing job working with those people. So since they're out there sort of dealing with a lot of the issues on the street, we wanted to get them some de-escalation training. So the CIT officers were very gracious in coming and teaching that class. And then later, when you saw the officers questioning the small children, I need to sort of preface that was actually an event with the New Mexico Black Leadership Council. They do a wonderful summer program of youth engagement that has performance and other things. And this year they did the Amazing Shake, which was an opportunity for kids to go through different communication tasks and learn skills to better present themselves and communicate to people. And they asked for us to set up a little scenario where they actually have to encounter officers and explain themselves. So those were just opportunities to sort of share some of the ideas and skills that we've worked with officers over the years to develop. And you know, that's why I'm feeling now is a good time to share that with the community at large, just because I feel we're in very stressful times, and finding ways to sort of communicate in stressful situations always seems important. So, but I realized without my card, I jumped into the presentation and stuff without offering any opportunity for announcements. I know that August 4th, we're going to have the National Night Out, and that will take place at various neighborhoods all across town. As I said, I forgot my card with that information, but Brittany, do you have any information? I'm putting you on the spot again. Do you have any information about the various nights out?
So usually we don't like receive the list ourselves until about a week or so before. Laura's the one who puts it all together. And I believe the only ones that get published out are ones that are at like parks.
Okay.
That's the only ones that'll get put on the city website.
Okay. But yeah, you can, if you're part of your neighborhood association, find out if you're hosting one. I know the Reynolds area over here, they have a lovely one at Benny Hargrove, but that'll be coming up. And I wanted to give anyone else an opportunity if they had any announcements to share before I got into the presentation. Going once, going twice.
So,
there we go, Mike.
I don't have the information on my screen here, but there was an announcement about State of the City coming up
All right.
from Mayor Keller's office, but I can't find it. I'll look for it in my emails and then put it in the chat if I can find it.
Markella, are you on? I see, I was wondering, she might have some information about that.
Yeah, I'm here. I wasn't prepared to talk about it right this second, so let me pull it up.
Yeah, just since Mike brought it up, and I'll get myself ready.
So, State of the City is confirmed to be Saturday, August 15th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Route 66 Visitor Center.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. All right. Without, here, let me, see, I had that opportunity and I didn't get prepared here. There we go. All right. Apologies as I share my screen. All right. So when we use the term de-escalation, often I feel that it gets interpreted in a lot of different ways. So again, I asked for a little participation. What does the term de-escalation mean to you? Anyone can just shout out an idea of what de-escalation means.
Bringing the situation back to normal or bringing it down.
Bringing it down, yeah. And again, when we think about temperature, lowering the temperature, right. While it's the skills that are taught in relation to law enforcement are about sort of bringing it down, I also want us to think about the idea of assessing the situation, using these skills to also, these communication skills to assess the situation. You're trying, as some of the many terms on the screen there, redirect the situation. So these communication skills are also really an opportunity for you to use the language and the skills to assess the situation. Let me go to So most people probably recognize this. This is a movie poster that reflects my age, because I was a young child when I saw this movie. For the first time, my parents took me to see it. And the movie, it's even looking at the poster, it has affected me for a long time. I'm very afraid of sharks, and swimming in the ocean is something that brings a lot of anxiety to a lot of people. I'm curious about other, like, when we think of fears and anxiety-inducing situations, it's not always straightforward. We have some of those things that are sort of buried deep within us, like some people are afraid of heights, some people are, don't like closed spaces. So when we think about de-escalation, one of the most important things is to think about your own fears and what situations you're comfortable in and not comfortable in. And then I have another movie poster, and another sort of thing that influenced me around the same time as Jaws was Bruce Lee and the idea of martial arts. And the martial arts were also something that affected how I approach a lot of this stuff. At times in my life, I did study them, but as you get older and it gets a little harder. But the ideas of using a lot of the ideas of martial arts to sort of be aware of your surroundings. I'll get into it a little more. One of the teachers I had said the best martial artist is someone who can not get into an altercation. So the whole point of there is like me trying to understand what situations I'm comfortable with. Luckily, I'm someone who feels comfortable in a lot of situations, but depending on who you are, you may not. I think, if you're a smaller person, unfamiliar with the environment, those things can really affect your ability to feel safe in a situation. So when I think of de-escalation, and the whole point of this was to really say you have to start with yourself. You have to assess how you feel in a situation of risk and how you respond to fear. We all have sort of different levels of resilience, and you have to be sure that you're comfortable when you are dealing with the situation that's stressful. Also, the way our bodies are wired when we talk about the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, we have these ways that we automatically respond to stressful situations. We think of fight and flight as examples of this. But the main thing is just make sure that when you're dealing with the stressful situation, that you're able to assess your ability to even, cope with it. And before we get into the actual skills, the idea again is these communication skills that are based on crisis negotiation and these other things. While in law enforcement, they're using these skills to try to change a behavior, take someone in custody, make a situation safer. For the average person, when I talk about these skills, it's again, allowing you the opportunity to interact with someone else and assess their ability to even have a conversation with you, or if this is a situation that you can have any influence of. And the idea is these communication skills will give you an opportunity to assess that as you talk to the person. But I also stress that if you're not safe, try to work with someone else. Try to have a partner or a friend with you when you are dealing with the situation, or someone to watch your back, as police officers often have. They have someone, a backup, or an 82 is what they call them, someone that will keep an eye on them in the situation and observe for safety reasons. If someone has a bag or is fidgety or is in their pockets, those kind of things. When you're talking to someone, you may not notice. So try to have someone with you when you're working in a situation that's creating that kind of stress. And when you're sort of negotiating, try to be rational. Don't make promises. Oftentimes, if you're encountering someone who's on the street or unhoused, maybe it's, some water or something that you can offer that might ease that situation down. And, a lot of times, even when we're dealing with stressful situations, we might bargain our way out of them. But I just stress, try not to make promises or bargain when you're not going to deliver on those. And that also has to do with don't back yourself into a corner. Always try to see that there's a way out or an avenue. If you are enclosed in a room, try to get in a situation where you can reach the exit, that sort of thing. Those are always good things to assess at the beginning of a stressful situation so that you can, if you have to engage and approach it, you can approach it in a safe way. So yeah, like I said, I was fortunate enough to, when I lived in New York, I was much younger, I trained with in a style of karate that is very defensive. And the ideas of that, like I said, were very helpful in helping me sort of understand how to carry myself in situations that get a little stressful or aggressive like that. Mainly because I then was able to utilize some of those skills when as an actor, and also with the role play that I've done with the police over the years. But getting back to sort of the idea of how we respond in these stressful situations, there's even this heat map that was created going back to the idea of when we get in those stressful situations, our body responds in these ways that we can't control. And you have to develop your own ways of trying to cope with those situations. So are there any techniques anyone has for coping with stressful situations? Breathing techniques, anything that you yourself have used in the past when you get stressful? Is there anyone just like to shout one out?
Can I go ahead and say something?
Yeah.
Since it seems like there are two kinds of engagements. There are engagements with people that might be family or neighbors and so forth that you might want to de-escalate. Like I often want to de-escalate things with my grandchildren and my wife. And I have a technique that I try to approach with them. But the other one is with people you meet out in public that you don't have a relationship with. And I would speak first to feeling comfortable yourself speaking with people you don't know. And I cultivate that just in practicing conversations, casual, friendly conversations with people I don't know. My wife says, "Why'd you talk to that person? Why'd you wave at so-and-so? You don't know them." And I said, "Well, how am I ever going to know them if I don't, acknowledge them?" So I try to acknowledge people. I almost always, when I'm walking towards somebody, I say, "Good morning, hi, how are you?" And then if they say, "I'm okay, how are you?" I say, "I'm fine, I hope you have a good day." So I'm always trying to feel comfortable with people on just any interaction, which makes it easier for me to feel comfortable when things might seem stressful or even dangerously threatening. So first of all, ask yourself, can you feel comfortable having a conversation with virtually anybody? I often use humor, and I never make fun of others. I always make myself the butt of my joke. And I tell my nephew that when you do that, everybody laughs because you think it's funny too, and they'll think it's funny, and you beat them to the punch.
So self-depreciating humor always works.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just silly or goofy stuff that I talk about. How I was walking around with a cauliflower head, and I put it up and it said, "This is my second brain." And, and the woman looked at me and just started laughing. So you just have to practice that sort of stuff, being comfortable with others.
Or
and
walk around with cauliflower, I guess.
yeah, find some way to joke about the cauliflower. Two things that I stress a lot is get comfortable apologizing to people. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that, or I guess I might have made you feel uncomfortable. And I will say, I ask them, well, tell me about that. You know, there's something that's troubling them, and say, tell me about it. I'd like to understand. So those are things that I do often with people I don't have close family connections with.
Well, yeah, that's.
I
was going to say that's exactly sort of you're hitting on one of the main reasons I do talk about this and share these skills is exactly what Mike's saying. Encountering people on the street who may not be as fortunate and actually feeling comfortable communicating with them just simply so that they can be acknowledged as another person. And Mike, you do this because you get something out of it, right?
Well, I reflect on some of the, let's just say, people in our national leadership roles. I get great pleasure out of doing kind things for other people. I do not get pleasure out of putting people down,
right,
and insulting them. So, simple things that I do, like I'll stop when somebody's walking through a parking lot going to the hair salon, and I let them walk in front of me, and I acknowledge them. I invite them to go ahead and do what they were doing, and then I give them a thumbs up when they accept my kindness, and I keep myself happy by doing things that are kind for others. Now, let me tell you, you talk about martial arts. I practice what I call emotional Aikido. And for people who don't know what Aikido is, I will simply say you take somebody's force directed at you and you redirect it, and they go flying past you, roll over, and land on the ground. You haven't hit them, you haven't blocked them, anything like that. And so I practice what I call emotional Aikido and help, like my granddaughters, redirect their anger.
Yeah, we often talk about the verbal judo as a term for dealing with some of these communication skills. But I mean, again, talking to it makes me think of unfortunately downtown recently. One of the unhoused people had passed away recently, and I was affected by that emotionally because this was someone that I did walk up to and try to help at different times. And, I just sort of feel like we, for a variety of reasons, because of the elevated temperature in our environment, we choose not to communicate with people in the way that Mike's talking about. And that's sort of what I'm trying to stress about, these de-escalation skills. If you use them to communicate, there's a the idea is communication, we can sort of share some things and get something back. So I just wanted to thank Mike for sharing that too, just the idea of, the different kinds of people we may try to communicate with, whether they're someone we're familiar with having an argument, or whether it's someone who approaches us on the street in a situation of crisis. The idea is, I sort of hope that these communication skills give us a little more opportunity to engage with people in a way that solves problems. So I was responding. Thank you, Mike, for that, because it sort of helped me get back to sort of the reason why I was really felt motivated to talk about this today. And again, that nervous system is something that we just, when there is proof that the temperature affects our ability to think and manage our emotions and that sort of stuff. So we'll get directly into these active listening skills and how you can use some of them to hopefully help regulate your own emotions, as well as understand where or how another person is feeling in a conversation. So I have up here the ones that I feel are some of the most effective. When you can look up active listening skills and find a whole variety of them. But these are the ones that I, over my years of experience, have really felt get the most bang for the buck, or allow you to assess things a little more. Paraphrasing is an easy one. It's really just saying back what someone is saying to you. Oftentimes when you're in a conversation with someone, they're talking fast, and you may not understand or get all they're saying. Paraphrasing just allows you to literally just repeat the words they're saying back to you and get some clarity as to whether you're hearing what they're actually saying. Open-ended questions, that's another one that's sort of learning how to ask questions that really open up the conversation. In times of stress, we tend to want quick answers, so we'll quick fire yes or no questions at someone instead of trying to use open-ended questions that expand on the answer. How did you get here today? Do you have friends that, or just a question that has an answer that will get them to expand a little more on their situation, as opposed to a yes or no question. And of course, body language is always a good one. Going back to the martial arts idea, you want to sort of, if you're standing in a way you look closed off, it closes off communication, but you still want to be safe. So we talk about having an avenue of exit, or a place that you can get out of the situation. Or another thing is, I have a table in front of me. If you have something that you can block or put between you and the person that you're having a conflict with, it gives you an opportunity to feel a little safer in your communication if there's an obstacle between you and them. So when we, the active listening skills are used in conjunction with what's called the stairway of behavioral change. This is where the rubber hits the road with these skills. These are the techniques used in law enforcement by the crisis negotiators. As we try to go up this staircase, you'll notice empathy, rapport, influence, and behavioral change. The idea is you're going to start at the bottom here with empathy and just try to get an understanding of where this person was. Someone, I think someone's microphone is on there. Getting an idea of where this person is at, where their emotional state is. And one of the skills that wasn't there before, but I feel is really good, is reflecting emotions. If you notice someone has their hands clenched, is gritting their teeth, that clearly gives the impression that this person is angry. We talk about labeling emotions or reflecting these emotions. by calling out emotions, if you see someone, say, hey, you seem angry, you seem upset, you seem sad. Because by labeling someone's emotions, you're letting them know that you acknowledge them. You're aware of how they're feeling. And this gives them an opportunity to even correct you if you're wrong. If they're not sad or they're something else, they'll let you know. But this is a good way of starting to build that empathy. And the idea with these skills is really to give the impression that you're really listening when, as I said before, the idea is to really try to assess the situation and the individual and to figure out what your next step is getting up that staircase, because you want to try to build some rapport with the individual. Often, like Mike was saying, a self-depreciating joke or commenting on a piece of clothing or something that you might notice that you and this individual have in common, give you an opportunity to build some rapport and actually move towards the next step, which is hopefully gaining some influence. If this person if we need to try to change their behavior, what can you suggest that might influence some of that behavioral change? So I've been talking a lot. Does anyone have questions about some of the stuff that we've been talking about, or any comments? Well, I'm not seeing or hitting, but I wanted to sort of try to get to the other side of this, because when you are dealing with someone in crisis, usually one of the main things that is going on is going to have to do with this hierarchy of needs. I have the idea of a pyramid, and this hierarchy of needs is something that when you're dealing with someone per se who might be unhoused, these are things that they're dealing with all the time, trying that loss of belonging. They're in a sense of survival all the time. They lack security. Their self-esteem has been affected. So going back to what Mike was saying, taking these things into consideration are a good way to sort of start to build that empathy and communication. Even when I was saying in relation to getting someone some water in the heat, satisfying one of those, those needs is something that lets someone know that you're concerned for them. I like the word concern because you can have concern for someone that you've just met. You don't have to say you care, but the idea is you want to show some caring. And like I said, I like to tell people when I encounter them that I'm concerned. So yeah, going back to that hierarchy of needs, in communication, it's just in dealing with someone in crisis, you can sort of identify how to get to that point of behavioral change if you pay attention to what the actual need or the ask is. Sorry there. So the only other issue is these communication skills aren't magic words. They abracadabra don't actually, you can't walk up and just get someone to accommodate you and behave how you want. So the idea again is while you're using communication, you should really assess whether the person you're trying to communicate with is even pliable in that way. Are they on substances? Are they intoxicated? We all seem to, I'm sure we all have our biases with that intoxicated friend who isn't listening to us when we're trying to get them a ride home, that kind of stuff. Or is there something greater wrong? If you're encountering someone on the street, using these skills, you can assess whether they might have some other mental health issue that is keeping them from communicating with you or understanding what you're saying. And that would need to go to the next level. And also, assessing for aggressive behavior, like I said, are they balling up their hands? Are they moving towards you in an aggressive way? Do they have things with them like a bag or a big metal rod or something that they might use for defense? When you're communicating the ideas, you're assessing the situation and getting yourself some distance from these situations if there are other dangerous signals. So I sort of ran through a lot of those things quickly here, hoping that you guys might have some questions or comments about the ideas of communicating in stressful situations, trying to cool yourself down when you yourself are in crisis. I just feel like we live in a time when communication is getting very stunted and altered because of our devices and how we sort of choose to communicate more electronically these days, and can't even trust the things and stuff that we're seeing and exposed to in media all the time, because is it even a real person that we're communicating with? So I guess I'm trying to speak about these de-escalation skills with the hope that you'll go out and find a real person to communicate with, and hopefully be like Mike there, go out and feel a little more comfortable in communicating with someone that you wouldn't maybe communicate with normally. I wanted to let people make any comments or follow up after the presentation there as I stop my sharing here. Hopefully that was information that was useful for people. I just wanted, again, to see if there were any questions or comments about how you're affected by the heat and the stress of the day and communication that we're dealing with in this day and age. No comments?
I'll say one of the pieces that moves my day is I try to start my day with gratitude. And I might have a million things that I need to really take care of and some really pressing needs, but I start my day with being grateful for all the things I have: a roof over my head. I have an 18-year-old, and I was going to say a full refrigerator, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, yeah, your 18-year-old's, he's huge. He's a giant.
Yeah. But having some food in my refrigerator, I'm thankful that for all the amenities that are provided in my house, and I'm thankful that I have a job, and I just make sure that I start my day without any anger or malice, and that really helps me when I do go into a situation in a meeting where it becomes stressful. I can actually take a deep breath. And if I feel like I'm being stressed, I'll take 3 deep breaths and just tell myself to step back and not take what is transpiring personally.
Yeah.
And just be appreciative that I have a skill set that I can handle the challenge and the conflict.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up gratitude. I definitely feel, again, it's in our fast-paced world, it's one of those things we should really take more time to be grateful for what we do have, for what we have, just waking up with 10 toes and 10 fingers. That is how many you're supposed to have, yeah. We should be grateful for a lot of things, but starting your day with a little gratitude definitely help.
Yes.
And even I wanted to follow up too, Rodney. We're sort of collaborating on some things speaking along those lines, coming up in August with UNM and trying to collaborate with APD and help people feel a little safer in the on campus.
Yes.
But were there any other? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I try to start and end each day with what I call Mike's daily affirmation. It's my way of praying. And one, two, three, there are 8 statements or paragraphs to this. They're very short, and I'll only share the first 3. And the first one begins, every day is a treasure to cherish, and to live ever so mindfully in the here and now as if it were my last, while striving to make it the best yet. I'm thankful for each and every new day I arise to. And then I'll go on to the third one. I resolve to make wise use of this abundance, enriching my life spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically, and financially, and then sharing my good fortune to benefit the world around me. I say that first, and the people I love. Because if I make the world around me better, it benefits the people in my family, my grandchildren, and my wife, etc. So with that, I'll close. And
Thanks a lot, Mike. Tom, I see your question here. Did you want to? Would you mind unmuting and explaining that a little better?
Sure. Thanks, Daryl.
Yeah.
Given your experience with role playing, do you see that as a possible activity to benefit our local business community, such as grad students design a scenario for an interaction with a typical antagonist that they might experience, and then they role play, and the business can learn from that interaction about the best techniques that could have been used in that particular scenario?
Yeah, actually, that's how we use the role play in law enforcement, and I have done that with businesses in the area in the past. Just like I was talking about the amazing shake, while you saw a quick video of the officers dealing with kids in a scenario where they were taking their parents' car. One of the other scenarios in the amazing shake was working in a restaurant and having the customers being irate at you, and the kids had to deal with irate customers. So role play works very well in the way that you're mentioning there, and even though Rodney and I are talking about this event in UNM, role play hasn't necessarily been brought up in relation to that, but it is something that is very effective in helping people sort of get those skills in their bones as far as what you're talking about for a business or really anybody. So yeah, I guess the short answer is yes. We'll find ways to utilize role play that way more, and that's again why I sort of like to ramble on about this subject. I do feel that there's a lot of applications for it out in the real world, just as things get a little more complicated and we lose some of the skills that we used to have. Role play is just a good way to sort of feel your way out if you're not sure about it. Did that answer your question, Tom?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah. Were there any other comments as we wrap this up? I want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, I'll be taking a bit of a break here. We won't have any more downtown echoes until the end of August. I will reach out to everybody before then, I am sure. I don't have anything on the schedule to let you know what that is, but we'll reach out and let you know. And again, any other last questions or comments before we go?
Just a reminder on that State of the City date, It is going to be August 15th, which is a Saturday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. And again, that'll be at the Route 66 Visitor Center.
Thanks again for that. Yes. Well, everybody, I hope you stay cool out there. Luckily, like I said, it looks like we have some clouds and hopefully some rain. But thank you for joining me today at the Downtown Public Safety Echo. Be safe, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us. We welcome your suggestions regarding any scenario involving future public safety echo sessions. For more information, visit www.cabq.gov/echo.